Right now, I'd like to welcome Judge Ted Howard with us today. He is with the Superior Court here in Orange County, and he is the incumbent candidate for that same position. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for letting me be here today.
Yeah, you know, people, I think in general, don't realize that although judges can be appointed, and I think you were, but primarily they are elected as far as this level goes. Obviously, federal judges and such on are different. So a lot of people don't realize that, right?
That's correct, but actually about 90% of judges are appointed.
Ah, okay.
And that's because what happens is a judge retires, and there is a portion of his 6-year term that remains. And it's the governor's job to fill that term. And that's about 90% of people become judges through appointment rather than election.
Okay. Now, would that be true? Now, you're a Superior Court judge,
correct?
Right? If there's a judge that is a non-Superior Court judge, I don't know what you call it, a county judge or...
We don't have those anymore.
Okay. Okay.
California became a one-level judge as far as the...
That's good to know. I didn't realize that.
That happened back in the 1990s.
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that. I always see Superior Court judge, and I always think, was that more important cases than just...
Well, there used to be municipal court judges.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And the municipal court judges were amalgamated into the Superior Court back in the 1990s by court unification. So we're all Superior Court judges now in California.
Okay. And now you yourself, you were appointed, am I right?
I was appointed.
Okay. And prior to that, were you practicing law, or
yes.
Were you a judge elsewhere at one time?
No, I was a practicing lawyer. To be eligible to become a judge, you have to have been a practicing lawyer for 10 continuous years.
Okay. Is that the only qualification? Beyond, do you have to work for the prosecution office or defend? No. That doesn't just become...
10 years continuous and good standing, you're eligible to be appointed by the governor.
Okay, and I understand there's a vetting process and there's different committees and the Bar Association all get involved, right?
Yes. First of all, there's a 74-page application you have to fill out. That it doesn't count the attachments. You have to send samples of your writing, lists of lawyers that you have dealt with in your career, and they are all interviewed and investigated.
Wow. So it is a very lengthy process?
It took upwards of 4 years for me, just short of 4 years between the time I began my application and when I was appointed.
Now, it took that length of time, and does that mean that you, in the beginning, you sort of set yourself up to being a judge when the opportunity came about? Because when that one judge or whoever it was retired or whatever happened, I don't know, they have to appoint someone fairly quickly, right?
Actually, they don't. Sometimes that office will remain open for a long time. The only time you see all the offices filled up is right before a governor is about to leave office.
Okay.
At that point in time, he's apt to fill out all the offices that are open throughout the state.
Okay.
But for instance, in Orange County, we've had as many as 10 offices that remain vacant for some period of time while the governor is going through the process of vetting candidates.
Interesting. Now, because, and I didn't realize that percentage were appointed, does it become political then, as we've seen obviously in the federal level? Whatever sitting president there is, and they have an opportunity to get somebody in the Superior Court or district courts, you know, obviously they want to get somebody in that sort of fits their way of thinking.
Well, it's interesting, as I understand this, it's typical. Right now we have a Democrat governor. Yeah. But not all his appointments are Democrat. Likewise, when we had Arnold Schwarzenegger as governor and was a Republican, not all his appointments were Republican. In fact, there's a certain amount, there's a cooperation between the people who are close to the governor in each county that have the governor's ear, and the application of that to both parties.
Okay.
Or no parties.
Yeah, yeah. And so does that mean people in like this county who have the governor's ear may turn around and go, you know, we feel this judge would fit our needs the best, or just have a say in it, like this is who we support?
A lot of it, we just don't know what goes into it. There is a regular procedure that is set up by a constitutionally mandated committee called the Jenny Commission, which has the job of vetting all judicial applicants. And that is a process. You get interviewed by a subcommittee, and then the subcommittee reports to the entire Jenny Commission, which covers the entire state of California. And they give ratings. They have 3 different ratings. Well, they have 4 different ratings, I guess, really. They have not qualified, qualified, and well qualified, just 3. And that goes on to the governor.
Okay.
Now, governor doesn't have to follow those recommendations, but they are made by that committee. It takes its job very seriously.
What method do you think is better? And as far as elected judges or appointed, and how do we compare California to other states? Do they use the same method?
No, it's quite different. Frankly, from my standpoint, the vetting process that someone like I went through 8 years ago is preferable to just elections.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, all you have to do is be a lawyer in good standing for 10 years. So you haven't gone through the process. People haven't seen you at work.
Yeah.
People haven't judged your demeanor. Judicial demeanor is a very important thing in today's courts, particularly in today's courts. You have to have a certain amount of judgment, and you have to be able to put up with some annoyances without losing your cool on the bench.
I would think that is something that is both learned and also over time with experience, but also that demeanor in some respects has to be there from the start. I mean, you were a lawyer. That's part of being a lawyer as well, I would assume.
Well, that's why they interview all those people that you've had cases with. They interview the supervising judge, the presiding judge of your court, to see, is this someone who's going to fit in with your bench? These are all things that come through the appointment process. We are all re-elected every 6 years if we want to run. But you'll notice, for instance, in this year, there's just one judicial race in Orange County that's on the ballot, and that's mine. That's because the other 34 judges who were up for re-election, no one chose to run against them. And when that happens, you do not appear on the ballot. Now, that's different from political offices.
That's right, that's right.
So my 34 fellow judges are all re-elected at this point automatically without ever having to appear on the ballot.
Okay. Let me ask you, from being a lawyer to being a judge, once you got on that other side, was there anything that once you started being a judge where, you know, you had that experience of being a lawyer and now you're like, was a judge seeing things differently? Was that hard, or seeing things more evenly instead of trying to be there to prosecute and or defend? I don't know what side you were when you were a lawyer. Now you have to be just in the middle, take it all in, and not, I would think one of the hardest things is not have that emotional involvement.
Well, it's certainly less stressful than my time as a lawyer. Now, I wasn't a prosecutor or a criminal defense lawyer. I was practicing in the civil realm.
Okay, all right.
So, but yes, I mean, now certainly I see people that were my former brethren and sisters at the bar who now appear before me. And I don't know, I find it very enjoyable. I actually have very much enjoyed being a judge because there's less stress. I don't have to worry about the availability of witnesses, what's the court's calendar. I have the court's calendar now. And I like it. It's a much better job.
Yeah, I guess it's like, you know, being a judge on American Idol. It's better than standing up there and trying to sing for all the judges. Now, a question that I have just in general, because I don't know the answer to this, as a Superior Court judge, and you're Office 13, just so people know, does that mean that do different judges try different cases? In other words, do you just try civil cases and somebody else does more criminal cases, or does it get mixed up?
Well, what happens is, keep in mind that Orange County is the 6th largest judiciary in the country. We have 120 judges.
Wow.
In addition to 120 judges, we have 17 court commissioners. So all these are judicial officers.
Okay.
And we sit on panels. I'm currently sitting on the civil panel. So I handle civil cases. And I handle what's known as unlimited civil cases. Those are civil cases where the amount in controversy is more than $25,000.
Okay.
There are other civil panel judges who handle cases that the amount in controversy is less than $25,000.
Very interesting. I didn't know that.
There's the family law panel, which I was on for 5 years before I went on the civil panel. It handles all these breakups of marriage, child custody, child support.
Yeah.
It's a tough assignment. Those are heroes, those judges that sit on that panel. There's a juvenile panel. There's a probate panel.
Okay.
So that's the way our court is organized. Now, there are counties in the state where they have 1 judge or 2 judges because of low population. There, the judge has to be able to handle all those matters as they come before that judge, be it he or she. So, but in Orange County, because of our size, we are divided with panels.
All right, very interesting. Well, I want to remind people that this is going to be on your ballot. It's on your ballot for you people. You probably received it. And there's only 1 spot for the judges this time around, Office 13. I'm always going, why do they have the office number? But it is Office 13. And I want to thank you for coming on and telling us why you want to go on with it. But I learned a lot too. I didn't realize some of the things that you told me, so it's been fun.
Well, it's an honor being here. My dad lived in this community for over 20 years, and so I was frequently a visitor here. So it's a pleasure to be here today.
All right, nice to meet you. And I want to remind people once again that the ballots this year are heavy ballots. I mean heavy by there's 3 pages in there. And if you don't read all the instructions, if you turn all 3 of those in, and you should, it's 71-cent postage. So I want to remind people of that, because I don't know what's going to happen. Most people are going to put 1 stamp. Does it get returned? I don't know, but that's something that maybe they'll work out next time. But good to see you. We'll be right back. Yeah,